Hello, everybody. Anais has begun recording, and as you know, these brown bag lunches are very quick, so I don't use a lot of that time for introduction. And actually, Mauricio and I were just talking about this. I've got the Zapam Zucum Malbec from last year open. We want to specifically spend most of our time talking about the feature wine, but one of the things I noticed was that I've got kind of molasses and Christmas cake on the nose of this, like very deep flavors. So I asked Mauricio Lorca, who I will introduce, Mauricio Lorca, the winemaker and owner of this brand Zapam Zucum. And if you could just repeat, Mauricio, what you were saying about how those tastes, those essences get expressed in a wine like this.
You know, when I was searching, a right place to produce organic wines with organic grape, of course, one of the terroir I found properly for this kind of wine was La Rioja. Vichigasta, this region, the weather is very warm at day and it's quite cold at night, but not too much. And so it's so characteristic to find, that kind of descriptor in the wine, normally that kind of flavors come from this specific terroir where the weather is dry, is warm during the day, is little cold during the night, and the evolution of the grape gave us give us that kind of plum, cherry, some that kind of fruit. And of course, the tannins are very soft. And normally, this kind of wine are very fresh and easy to drink.
So this is the one from last year. So it would have been the 2019. It's so wonderfully drinkable now. I think it's got lots of time in it as well. There's lots of acidity and fruit that this could cellar some as well. And to those of you on the call, thank you for joining us, so Opinion members. This wine that I'm drinking now is also being reintroduced this year in the 2021 vintage, and it's on page 21 of your C292. And then we'll take that over and we'll start talking about the other Zapam Zucum, which you've now started creating, Mauricio, which is the Cabernet Sauvignon lot 3138 that's on that page 2-3 spread. And I haven't had to try that. I haven't been able to try that, of course, Mauricio, because it's being offered for the first time this year. So tell us a little bit about this Cab Sauv.
Well, one of the reasons I decided to create this Cabernet Sauvignon is because there is organic Cabernet Sauvignon in this vineyard. That was the first reason.
Good thinking. Yes,
and the other reason was just because in Brazil and United States, they love Cabernet Sauvignon, and they were asking an organic Cabernet, which is very unusual to find in Argentina. And I am working in Bonarda. Probably in the next year you will have Bonarda too, but it's the Cabernet Sauvignon is already exported to Brazil and United States. Now it's going to be there in Opinion in Canada, which is I'm so proud about that.
And as are we. Thank you for that.
And the reason is not just because exists the grape and because those markets demand the wine. It's just because the expression of this Cabernet Sauvignon is fantastic. It's very easy drink, which is not usual in Cabernet Sauvignon. Normally, the people recognize some overstructure in the Cabernet Sauvignon, some green tannin. In this case, there is nothing like that. It's very easy drink, it's very fresh. It has the pepper character because it's the typicity of the Cabernet Sauvignon, but in the good way. You can recognize the grape, but at the same time, the wine in the palate is very smooth, and the aftertaste, the finish of the wine is very long. When I tasted the wine, we were doing for 3 years Cabernet Sauvignon until we found the right style. At the beginning was a little difficult. Then we were picking the grape in 3 or 4 different times, looking for the ripe. Okay.
Ripeness. Yes.
Exactly that.
Right.
Thank you, Michael, because my
Okay.
pronunciation sometimes.
That's a tongue twister even for we in English. So.
And then we found that if we combine, the first picking with the last picking, we can find the right fruit and the right ripening. Okay, so finally we blend both wine, and we found the right style of the Cabernet Sauvignon. My aim with these wines, this organic wine, was to find the way to make a right style of wine. Sometimes because the wine is organic, or some producers say natural, or some producers say, I don't know, other word that is normal to use now in this kind of wine. It's like it's allowed, to have some defects in the wines. So I don't think it's a good idea to promote organic wine or natural wine with some defects. So the winemaking process is very specific for this kind of wine. What I am doing is we pick the grape, we crush the grape, we chill the grape, and then we put it in the tank. Before we start the fermentation, we start doing pump over very frequently, okay? Trying to extract the color at the beginning of the fermentation. Once we see that the color is the right one, we separate the juice from the skin, looking to preserve the primary fruit of the wine. If you keep the wine with the skin, sometimes you can lose some of that kind of fruit, and so I like to preserve that. So this wine doesn't have any malolactic fermentation, okay? Because we pick the grape in two different stages, we find the more or less the right acidity, which is fantastic. So we don't need to add a lot of tartaric acid. We correct just 1 gram per liter. And then once the fermentation is finished, is ready, we clean the wine fast. Okay, that means that we don't find the wine. We just use a specific technology. Maybe Michael, you can help me. Is the centrifugation technology?
So centrifuge, yeah.
Centrifuge technology. So
let's go to the outside. Right?
Exactly. We remove whole the lees and the yeast, okay, from the wine. The wine is totally clean, and then we use the cross flow filter. Okay, so we clean the wine totally, and then 1 month later we put in bottle, and that's it. So that is so important, because I can be sure that the wine is not going to be contaminated. We don't need to add additional sulfur. Okay, so the sulfur level is very, very low. The wine is totally stable, because we did a specific things, to be sure that it's not going to have any contamination, and the wine can evolve perfectly. In fact, Michael, you are tasting the 2019 now, and the wine is ripe.
And this is my second bottle, and neither of them were corked. And I know a lot of people worry that there's going to be more spoilage in organic wines, and that is not the case if you make it correctly, as you've just described, right? If you bottle it well and you have it clean when it gets into the bottle, and you use the proper cork, then there's not going to be any more corkage than there is with any other wine, correct?
Yes, and that is another good point. We are using the jam cork. And remember, Marco, in some of the presentation, I was talking about the oxy-out technology I have in the winery, that we are bottling the wine, with very low oxygen, so that gave us the security that the wine is going to be ripe in long time in bottle. Okay,
because you don't want oxygen in your wine until you're ready to drink it, right?
I don't want.
Yes,
during the bottling process is so dangerous, because sometimes you have a high level of oxygen during the bottling, then the free sulfur will be combined, and that decrease, and you can have some risk. Okay, the wine can become oxidized or can contaminate or something can happen, you know. So it's so important to control the oxygen at the moment of the bottling too. It's another important reason.
Right, and Paul, I'm going to come back to the Malbec, and we'll talk to you about the awards at that time. But Mauricio, you mentioned about that you had these organic grapes in the vineyard, but what makes them organic in the vineyard? What's the difference there?
Bueno, the most important is to explain, you know, that we are not using any herbicides or agrochemical fertilizers or whatever, you know, that can contaminate the soil and the vineyard in general, you know. So it's that is the means. So the only thing we is allowed to use is sulfur, and copper, and that's it. Okay. In this region, which is very dry, very windy, we apply just once per year per cycle, you know, some sulfur and copper, and that's it.
And could you mind, I've heard it so many times and I'm not totally clear on it, but what does the copper do for you when you apply it in the vineyard? What's that? Why do you do that?
It's because you know, you can control the fungus. That is the reason why we use the copper, and the sulfur alone. We can use sulfur alone, and then sulfur and copper. You know, the salt. So the sulfur protect us from the mildew, and the sulfur and copper is for the peronospora. Okay. So we do one sulfur and one sulfur and copper, and that's it. Okay. All that application or spread is normally we do in December, you know, before Christmas, something like that, and the grape became protected until last week of February, first week of March, when we pick the grape.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And then, so I will talk about the Malbec here, as Paul's asking about the award that the Zapam Zucum Malbec received. Did you want to talk a little bit about that?
I'm sorry, Michael, I didn't understand the question.
The award of the Zapam Zucum, the Malbec.
Yeah.
It's an award winner, I understand.
Is it the worm?
The award. Has it won wine awards?
There is an award.
Yes,
sorry.
No problem.
To be honest, we have only one journalist that tasted the wine last year. Patricio Tapia gave to the wine 92 points, which is nice because it's an organic wine. You know, it's not too expensive. 92 for that quality, I think it's good. We didn't send the wine to another, you know, competition. So we really believe in the quality we have, and I don't know, it's for us, to be honest, it's not too important, you know, that kind of thing. We really believe in what we do.
And the members will decide, because we sold lots of the Zapam Zucum last year. And in fact, Jean-Paul has opened the 2019 as well. Cheers, Jean-Paul. And he was saying that the window of drinking, and this would be, Jane would have assigned it, was 2021 to 2024. And Jean-Paul, and I don't mind saying myself, think it could go longer in the cellar as well. Would you say that you could cellar this wine for longer than another 2 years?
Well, you know, is in this condition, because I explained how we care the wine, or how we made the wine. I think you can keep the wine for 3, 4, 5 years, maximum 5 years. Okay, I prefer to drink the wine in the first 2 years, or maybe 3, no more than that, because I like the fresh character of this organic wine. You know, remember the sulfur level is very, very low. Okay, so sometimes you can lose some of the fresh fruit just because the normal evolution of the wine in bottle. Okay, but my suggestion is to drink the wine in between 2nd, 3rd year maximum. That is my consumption point. Okay, it's how I like the wine. Okay,
and I think that you share that with Jane Masters as well, because Jane likes to drink a wine when it's still fresh and young.
Yeah.
And I like older wines, Jean-Paul, so I'm kind of with you. but I have to admit, I'm not sure I've got any organic in the cellar that's older than 5 years old. So I might try one. I lost one of my bottles of 6 to the LCBO for testing. You know, they take one. I always I take a bullet for the team, Opinion members, and so I had 5, and I had one as soon as it arrived, and then this second one now. So I'm down to 3 already. And so I don't think I'll have any trouble with it staying 5 years in the cellar. But I am gonna I'll replenish my Malbec with an order for it this year, and of course add the Cabernet Sauvignon. And would you still feel the same way about the Cab, huh? So yes, in fact, she's saying 22 to 24 for the Cabernet as well.
Yeah, it's about 3 years. It's like we are in the more or less the same page, with Jen, because those wine are very enjoyable wines, when they are young. Okay, in general, I think is
and what I would have said about this one, and I'm not telling you anything you don't already know, but that it was a very soft tannin for a 2-year-old Malbec, right? So that those
and I can see, Michael,
integrated. Yeah,
I can see, Michael, the color is very violet. It's still violet. I can see very clear now, and it's great. I think that shows that the wine have a wonderful age potential, but I don't think it makes sense or no. I prefer to drink the wine younger.
and it's personal taste, and I can say that one of the things we are doing at Opinion, that if you see our cellars, they continually were adding new voices. So even it used to be just Greg and me that was director's cut, and we've changed that to Opinion Suggests, and we're adding staff members and board members so that people can see the different palates and what the types of wines that each of us enjoy. So I think that's only a good thing in wine. I mean, that's why wine is so much fun, right? It's so subjective, and everybody has a different approach.
Yeah, exactly. My goal or my aim with this organic wine was to show wine that tastes exactly as the traditional wine. That was my focus, because I was tasting so many organic wines, and some of them, have some mistake in the mouth, and they say no because it's organic, but it's not totally true that, So I was looking for, of course, La Rioja, Vichigasta, the winemaking process, the technology we use gave me the opportunity to create, those organic wines with that quality.
Right. Well, that's excellent. Thank you very much. We've used up our 20 minutes very quickly, as they always do. Really appreciate your taking the time.
So, it's my pleasure, Michael, as always.
Everybody take notice that this one closes next Monday, so you've got to get your orders in, and member service is really busy in week 5 all the time. So please get your orders in when you can. Anais, thanks for running this today. We really appreciate it. Have a glass of wine, everybody, and enjoy life.
Bye.
Take care, everybody. See you again.
Bye
soon.
bye.
Okay,
bye bye. Thank you.